your half-assed reporter, the guy on the bike. And we are on the north end of Chelsea. And we're going to bop in here at the Joshua Linner Gallery. And take a look at an exhibition by Aaron Johnson titled Gone Fishin'. We
already started?
I snagged Aaron.
Me.
So the title of the show is Gone Fishin', and I'm gonna drag you around here and ask inappropriate, embarrassing questions.
Thanks for coming, James Kalm.
Actually, I've been watching your work for probably about 10 years. I think I saw you first over on a gallery that was maybe 26th Street.
Yeah, Priska Yushka. 3 solo shows there back in the day.
Yeah, okay.
And then 3 solo shows at Stuck's Gallery, who just about a year ago closed.
Right.
So this is my first solo show with Joshua Linner.
Well, you know, I covered a booth at the Knot Affair maybe last year, and you had some pieces in that show, and I got a lot of positive responses. So when I saw you had this show and we kind of messaged back and forth on Facebook, I said I got to drop in here and see the work and drag you over the coals.
It's hard work to photograph. Video works really well with it, so I thought it'd be interesting.
Well, tell me a little bit about your background.
My background?
Yeah, where did you study?
Well,
you live here in New York, out in Brooklyn or someplace?
I've been in New York for 18 years, almost 18 years.
Okay, that's a while.
Yeah, I got my MFA from Hunter in 2005.
But you're not a New Yorker?
No, I was from Minnesota, first of all.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here we have some fishing paintings. My BFA was a molecular cellular biology degree, not a BFA. So I was a self-taught artist before I got my MFA. And
but I think there's a certain amount of molecular biology going on here. Actually, I did want to ask you about your materials.
Yeah. You haven't figured it out? You know.
Well, you know, I can see a lot of this is you've got fabric you've collaged in there.
It's all socks. It's all old socks.
These are all old socks. Okay, Sockatumi. And you were saying that you're from Minnesota, so you kind of feel like you're playing a little bit on some folk art or something like that, or?
Part of it, yeah. There's a lot of layers to why this piece exists.
Does this have a title? Does this one have a title?
This piece is called Gone Fishin'. Exactly.
This is
like the show.
The title piece of the show. Okay, let's keep moving around here.
Sure.
Well, that piece had a lot of collage elements and stuff sticking out.
Yeah.
But other work that I've seen over the years is more like this, where you're actually kind of, is this working on the back of a piece of?
That's right.
Some kind of fabric or
sort of
film?
I call these reverse painted acrylic polymer peel paintings because
reverse painted acrylic polymer peel paintings.
So to briefly describe the process, which is impossible to really imagine, is they're all painted on the reverse side of a piece of clear plastic sheeting.
Yes.
Painted in little details first, small details first, working in layers, pouring on acrylic polymer at certain stages through the process, which makes a paint skin.
Right, and then you peel that off and carve it up.
Off and stuck onto a polyester net, which is, if you look at the side.
Okay, we can kind of see the netting come through.
It's a netting that they use at archery courses to stop arrows behind targets. So it's just an industrial product that I found that works really well for this technique. And it's a technique I've been doing for a long time. The sock paintings are newer, and they've just been happening in tandem in my studio.
Well, it's great because you're actually kind of going in 2 different directions. This kind of, you're intentionally keeping the work extraordinarily flat, and like you said, sort of going backwards on the picture plane, and with the other pieces, they're all sticking out pretty intensely out into the front. Let's keep moving around here. So does this one have a title?
This one's called Gone Truckin'.
And
trucking.
this one is about 60 by 66, something like that. About
there. I think it's actually 56 by 60. Close.
56 by 60. Well, that's one of my hobbies.
This one's called Rattlesnake Ridge.
Rattlesnake Ridge. You know, I was talking to you about your aesthetics and whether you thought maybe this was related to folk art. You know, I've actually kind of noticed that there's I wouldn't say a group, but there's a kind of a sensibility that I've called Redneck Surrealism.
Yeah.
And in certain ways, it's almost, well, it's not anti-intellectual, but it is kind of taking a vulgar American attitude and kind of shoving it into the face of the elitists, you know, the academics and the formalists.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any sympathy with that kind of thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. I like this term, redneck formalism.
Well, it's better than the, what was it, the mouth-breathing imagist or something like that.
Yeah, and I've been painting cowboys for a long time. It started during the George Bush era as this kind of critique of George Bush America, and then it just kind of developed into a more fleshed out, grotesque Americana, as I like to talk about it. So I think this work is all coming from that same place, although I think my work in this show is less dark and less kind of full of vitriol as it was maybe when I was considered more of like a political artist, when I was making, you know,
that's a dangerous stance.
Monstrous paintings of George Bush on American flags at a certain point. In this body of work, I wanted to try to make paintings that were about escapism, or this feeling of wanting to escape kind of the horrors of current events or the contemporary world, but then from that standpoint, like, what is escapism? Is that a kind of privilege? Is that corrupt? Is that kind of a psychology that America has been riding on, this kind of illusion of this American dream? So those are all kind of layers of ideas around this work, and then each one of these paintings is kind of a different kind of an escapism. And this one, it's some hikers going on a hike, and in this case, this painting started with just a splatter. So it was
that's what I wanted to point out, is that although you've got your kind of your grotesque figures, there's always or at least in a lot of these works, there's just a kind of a quality of experimentation with paint. So you were talking about just sort of pouring something down, you sort of lay out this kind of what turned into a kind of a serpent form, and then you've got kind of the cloud things, but this is all done with pouring and splashing and mixing, and kind of the way the pigments separate out, and some of these things give you the spots and things.
Yeah.
Let's go over to, this is another sock piece.
Right, we've got them kind of alternating through the installation, reverse paintings and...
Now, do you actually wear these socks? I mean, is that those holes that are worn out?
I tear a lot of holes into them, but a lot of them do come wholly in the first place. But they're
holy.
They're worn out.
Holy Kerouac.
Worn out old socks that people donate to me. So I do a collection where I post on Facebook and Instagram for people to.
And then these have been
socks.
dunked in what, modeling paste or something, or?
It's mainly PVA glue and acrylic.
PVA glue.
Yeah, and. Yeah, it's mainly just paint on socks, and they get really stiff. They hold their forms well.
I got some socks that don't have any paint on them, and they're pretty stiff.
Well, I do an exchange. I give people little drawings in exchange for socks. So I'll once in a while do that and develop a mountain of old socks in my studio. It's material.
And again, we've got certain kind of reoccurring images. We got, is that a bass? Is that what that is?
Striped bass.
Striped bass. Are you a fisherman?
You know, I'm not, but I grew
from
up
Minnesota
fishing.
and
I grew up
fish.
fishing. I was as a kid.
Okay.
So it's something about more innocent times, thinking back to childhood and fishing. You know, the idea of gone fishing and checking out from reality was where the big gone fishing painting came from. That was the first of these kind of escapist scenes, and the other ones all came after that. So that one you were just looking at is called hot tubbing. So it's people hanging out in hot tub.
You know, I think the other thing that I'm noticing is that. And partially this is just the nature of painting, is that the flatter paintings you're able to play up and bring out the color more, whereas when you've got the high relief, that kind of overwhelms a lot of the color things. So in certain ways you get a chance to play with the very physical aspects of that on some of the pieces, and then on something like this, you get to go in and dig in more to the color side of things.
Yeah, juicier colors in these, I guess. I like to leave some of the sock quality showing through the paint so that it doesn't all get sort of plasticized in the acrylic.
So is all of this on the back side of this, or some of it is on, it looks like some of it is on the front side?
All of it's on the front. Well, the layer that looks like would be on the front is the first layer that's painted, and then there's then there's a clear layer poured behind it. Then there's some splatters for the background, then there's another clear layer behind it, then there's the final background. So it's a lot of little cumulative layers building up like a paint skin that has...
That's actually a classic... That's a classic old German technique. They called it Unterglasmalerei or Unterglasmalerei.
Yeah.
Let's, well, we'll catch this last piece. More guns.
This one's called Son of a Gun.
So the paint is just basically acrylic, and yet once you build your...
Yeah, so the socks are just dipped in like a PVA.
So your gun shapes here, are these sewn together? Is this all just glued together like that?
Just, yeah, glue and acrylic medium, you know. All acrylics basically. So socks, they're just really embedded and saturated with paint.
Soaked socks, okay. This is another interesting piece I was looking at. Okay, sort of a... I've got like a dinner party set out here.
It's an installation of small sculptures. First time I've made sculptures. Yeah, it's been inevitable that they would start to come off the sock paintings. I mean, this is exactly like a gun that would be installed into one of the paintings, and here it's its own object.
Was that a challenge for you, sort of going from that wasn't exactly two-dimensional, but sort of taking off the picture plane? And
in a way, it was weird. Yeah, it was a little challenging. It was... when it's just parts and before the paint goes on it, it kind of looks like such a mess. And then it just becomes something really fun to paint on. So there's a lot of just painterly tricks and glazes and color things that happen in the paintings now they get to happen in these little 3D objects. So I'm still very much thinking as a painter in these. And that's what brings them to life for me.
Now, would you consider this an installation? Would this be one piece, or would you say each one of these are individual pieces?
They're individual, kind of modular pieces.
Okay.
That can be, rearranged or pieces added to it, or they are their own individuals.
Okay.
A lot of the same motifs that are in the paintings, like there's pizza slice, there's demonic kind of weird
burgers.
grotesque burgers, there's these wine glasses. There's a lot of wine in the paintings, kind of Dionysian thing.
Let's go back and look at some drawings.
4 works on paper here. That's the
works on paper.
end of the show.
Now, is this also acrylic?
This is acrylic, and this is the way I've been making paintings on paper lately. These 4 I actually made at a residency where I traveled to Spain for a month to work at CCA Andrats in Mallorca.
So these are about what?
I did a really portable project.
20 by 28, something like that?
Or 19 by 24.
19 by 24.
And they're blotted off of each other in terms of...
Oh, okay. That's what I was looking at, the smushing effect, yeah.
Exactly, smushing.
The blotting. Let me ask you this question. When you think about maybe your heritage or lineage art historically, who do you look at? Who would you consider people that have influenced you?
In these, I think about James Ensor a lot.
James Ensor, okay. I was sort of thinking about that. Or let's see, some of the early Germans, maybe Nolde.
Oh yeah, German Expressionism. All that. I mean, what I really like about these is that the process is very direct. There's no complicated layering or peeling or pouring of anything. There's no layering of socks. It's just painting, and these feel really interesting to me right now for that reason. There's a real looseness to them, kind of fast on these pieces.
You're talking about the grotesque images in front of the flag, so you got at least one flag in there again. Okay. Well, Aaron Johnson, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you, James Kalm.
What was the name of the show again?
Gone
Fishin'.
Joshua Liner Gallery.
And it's open until when?
Until May 20th.
May 20th.
28th Street.
Right.
Next to the Zaha Hadid building.
I just saw it
Just
out
took
there.
all the scaffolding off.
Yeah. All right. And as we always say at this point, thank you, Kate.